Have you ever seen someone with brightly colored hair, a leather jacket covered in patches, or ripped clothing held together by safety pins? You may think that this person is just trying to stand out. However, within punk subculture, fashion is more than just appearance. It is a form of communication. Fashion is something that we encounter every day. Understanding how it works within a subculture can help us better understand people whose experiences and beliefs are different from our own. To learn more about punk fashion, I researched scholarly articles on JSTOR as well as reliable fashion sources that examine cultural significance of punk fashion. Punk is more than just a style of dress. It is the subculture's values of individuality, creativity, and individualism through the appearance, DIY philosophy, and the role of communicating. Today I'm going to tell you what punk fashion is, how DIY philosophy helped shape its development, and how it continues to communicate identity and build community. To begin, it is important to understand what punk fashion is and what it represents within punk subculture. Punk fashion is a visual expression of the subculture's values. Modern punk fashion is a modern subculture that values individuality, self-expression, and the resistance of social expectations. Vogue stated that punk fashion is often associated with leather jackets, combat boots, chains, patches, van t-shirts, and unconventional hairstyles. Punk fashion rejects mainstream trends and encourages creativity and originality. This image shows how punk fashion personalizes clothes to reflect their identity, beliefs, and interests. While punk is visually distinctive, it is one of its most important characteristics is the philosophy that inspired it. DIY philosophy is one of the most important influences on punk fashion. DIY philosophy encourages people to create things themselves. Teal Triggs, from Scissors and Glue, Punk Fanzines and the Creation of DIY Aesthetics, says that homemade magazines known as fanzines were created by the punk subculture. These were copied and pasted magazines that were hand created by people of the punk subculture. They value participation rather than perfection. Punk fashion is similar to a scrapbook, as the experiences, creativity, and interest tied to it often reflect the person who created it. These images show how fanzines influenced punk clothing. DIY philosophy explains how punk fashion is created, but punk fashion also serves as an important purpose within community today. Punk fashion helps communicate identity and build community. Greg Foley and Andrew Lucky, in a 2017 Vogue article on subculture, stated that punk fashion stands for individuality, rebellion, and the resistance to mainstream expectations. A 2013 Vogue article stated that punk fashion remains influential because it is distinct and it shows self-expression. These images show how punk fashion is active today and some examples of how that may look. Now that we explored what punk fashion is, how it is developed, and why it is important today, let's review the main points of this speech. Today we discussed what punk fashion is, how DIY philosophy influenced its development, and how it creates a sense of identity and builds community. Punk fashion demonstrates culture can be communicated through appearance, not only words. The next time you see someone with a bold hair color, combat boots, or a leather jacket, know that you may be seeing more than just fashion. You may be seeing a cultural statement.